Trustees' regular meeting of September 13th, 2022 to order at 6 p.m. Ready for the pledge? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Fitzpatrick.
Here.
Woodruff.
Here.
Blanchard.
Here.
Zeiss.
Here.
Leaf.
She's
Wolfgang.
Here.
Campbell.
here. Marilyn called. She has a sinus infection, so she won't be here. 3, public input. Approval of the agenda. We have a couple changes to the agenda. We need to add laptop for trustee.
It's in the board package, it's not on the agenda.
Yep.
We'll make that 15. Item 16, request to declare boat motor surplus and available for bid with a $1,500 minimum. That also is in the packet.
What? That's a boat motor?
The boat motor. We've got the trailer and the boat. Just forgot the motor. And item 12, request to hire a paid-on-call member. Her last name is not Hall. Her last name is Allen.
Close enough, right?
Is what?
Allen.
Oh.
What was the minimum bid?
1,500. I would move to approve the agenda with corrections.
It's been moved and supported to approve the agenda with the corrections. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Declaration of conflict of interest. Presentation, special report. County Commissioner Brad Jewett will be here after he reports to Garfield. Community Police Officer.
Good evening, Matt Trustee, Blair Township Community Police Officer. This is the August 2022 report. CPO stats: arrests 0, citations 3, complaints 26, traffic crashes 1, warrants obtained 0, warrants declined 2. In late July, early August, Farm and Fleet had someone try to, well, they did chop a big hole in their fence back there. It's probably big enough. I was guessing they were trying to get a side-by-side out of there, but they didn't succeed and they weren't caught on camera, so
They were or weren't?
we're not caught on camera. The cameras, it gets too dark as it goes back. There's a camera back there, but. And then on the 4th, they had a suspect come in that I've never identified and they couldn't identify. He emptied a mulch bag in the aisle, put it back in his thing. He left half the mulch in there, and then he proceeded to go to the power tool section and buried power tools into the mulch bag underneath all the mulch.
Oh, jeez.
Went out with it. We have his plate, but I can't make it out. The cameras aren't good enough, so. Handled 2 domestics that were interesting in August. 2 roommates got in a fight, 2 ladies, because one put dog food in the bag where she keeps her false teeth. And so that turned into a physical fight. And then on the 27th, a man called. He was extremely intoxicated. He always is. And he said that his stepson aimed an AK-47 at him and robbed thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of jewelry from him. His wife said there's no chance he even has thousands and thousands of dollars of jewelry. It turned out he was the suspect in a domestic with his wife, and I think he kind of made up some of the story. In both cases, they declined to charge anybody at the prosecutor's office. The Michigan Fair, Northwestern Michigan Fair was a success. There was a lot more calls there for me this year. two interesting ones that I had to do reports and send to the prosecutor's office. One teen 4-H'er was showing his genitals to some other teen girls. Their parents didn't like that. They reported it to me. He was on probation already, so I sent a report to the prosecutor's office and his probation officer, and I haven't heard back. The other thing that happened, there was a man that was on probation again for an assault against his girlfriend and her boyfriend, her new boyfriend, and he confronted her at the fair, blew them kisses, and said some words to them, which he's obviously not allowed to do, so I had to send a report to the prosecutor's office as well. No one was arrested this year. Any questions? Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Treasurer's report.
For the general fund, we have 5,406,986. For our public safety fund, we have 879,634. For the ambulance fund, we have 982,452. Metro Act fund, we have 29,684. Liquor law fund, enforcement fund, we have 40,881. Milfoil fund, we have 7,871. For the emergency services building, we have 128,000. For sewer fund, we have 2,009,721. Water fund, we have 3,127,708. Current tax collection is 1,955,219. And the payroll fund is at a credit of $24,040 for a total of $14,544,115.59. And today we collected, just today we collected a little over 900,000. And that's just prep, walk-ins, and mail. We were busy. We had our tickets handed to us today.
Thank you, Tracy.
Announcements and correspondence. Water loss committee update.
Do you want to give it?
We met last Thursday, the water committee, and we talked about the commercial meters are all installed now and working properly, but it'll be another month before we have actual readings to compare it to August, so to find out where we're at. And the residential meters are in, and we're going to start installation, and I forget when they're going to start. October 1st, with a goal of doing 50 a month.
Well, that's just the 2Gs.
That's
The
just
2G meters.
the 40 that we ordered.
Right, okay.
Yeah, there's just 40. Well, we got 50 in, but there's only 40
That we need
for
to
the
change out.
2Gs to change out.
All right. And let's see, what else was there? Well, there's something we're going to discuss later on the agenda was, cost with hydrocodone, so I won't go into that now. And Lisa's up and running, everything's with the software from BSNA, and that's all coordinated now, I believe. And, that's where we're at. And we're going to meet again in October, so we're making some gains. Now we think we'll be able in the very near future start comparing month by month to see if we're making progress or at the same, but we feel that we're going to make some progress here and some savings. So that's
And we talked about getting a listening device for.
Yes.
Leak detection.
Mhm.
leak protection.
I can get one through Michigan Rural Water to use. In the meantime, I'm actually meeting with the guy tomorrow.
Okay.
They're just waiting on parts for it, so we can get that in the meantime if we want for free.
I like free.
It's for like
a month we'll get it.
Okay.
And the Metrons do seem to be picking up toilet leaks. On the
Yeah,
water
you
stove.
said that was a lot of toilet leaks. And I'm sure, you know, those all went undetected. And that can add up to a lot of, you know, people that sometimes don't even hear their toilet leaking. They feel like that handle's locked and it just keeps running and running.
Well, and especially if it's in a commercial
True.
building,
Yeah.
I would think it
Yeah.
would go unnoticed more often.
Yeah.
Seamless Gutter had a toilet leak with their old meter, and their new meter, they got a $300 bill. So
They fix that toilet leak.
they fixed it right away.
Right, but that's what I was gonna say, is the toilet leak won't contribute to the monthly water loss.
Correct.
It'll help the
Through the
water.
meter.
If the meter's picking it up, yes, it'll help water loss quite a lot. And just going through water scope, there's, I mean, Kendall from Pit Spitters toilet leak.
So are you saying that the old meters would not pick up?
So
A
far,
toilet leak?
it seems to be that way. I haven't had a chance to look at all of them, but I have looked at some of the, you can type in leak,
Mhm.
our threshold leaks, and even on the residentials, like there's a place on Luann Lane I looked at today, they used 24,000 gallons this week alone on a toilet leak.
Wow.
Or whatever it is running there.
It's a big toilet.
Probably
But
hoses
correct,
running out
Lynette,
back.
that we think a lot of the old meters that were out there in commercial that we've changed out, if it's not enough pressure that the meters were not picking that up, so they were not being billed. They were using it but not being billed for it.
So
So we.
That
Bills are
could have been-
higher,
yeah.
right.
Yeah,
So
and
that's
that's,
going to hopefully be a lot of the issue, but I'm sure there's some other things. going
Right.
on, too.
yeah.
yeah, and that's similar to when we took Lynette's meter, and he hooked it up and kept showing it to get to be a steady stream that meter was
Exactly.
not moving at all.
So that's where we're at so far.
And I'd like to say one other thing. These last few meetings have been great. Everybody's working together and not pointing fingers at everybody. And that's good. Everybody wants to find a solution to this problem. And I think it's great. It's gonna take a while, but I think it's great that everybody's working together. And I want to thank everybody.
I agree.
Anything else?
That's it.
Township cleanup day, this Saturday, 8 to noon. You gonna be here? You can't?
I didn't know that I was going to be watching kids for 3 days.
They're good helpers.
Near Grand Rapids, so. I'm bummed. I said, well, maybe I could just drive back for this. My wife said, no, you're not.
I'll make some calls tomorrow and try to get a few more volunteers to commit. 8 to noon. I mean, even though it feels like 35 hours by the time we're done. But
I know, it's a ton of work.
anything else under announcements, correspondence?
Lisa just gave me this afternoon. This is our delinquent water that I'll be sending out postcards for in the next couple weeks. And we're at about 100,000 that I'll be, dollars, not accounts. $100,000 that I'll be sending out for people for reminders that they have delinquent water bill. And
How long have they been delinquent, like, is there?
Well, since July of last year on some of them, because, you know, some people just wait for it to roll over and that they never pay and that. So this is through July 31st this year, because they have to be delinquent from July 31st for me to roll over on the winter taxes. So anything August 1st, 2021 forward, anything delinquent will be rolled over on the taxes.
Tracy, do you know, is that pretty comparable? Yeah.
I don't know, cause she just handed me this and
Yeah.
I will next
I want to say that's pretty.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty annual.
next month, I'll bring asking for the amounts to be rolled over on the tax bill and that, but
Have we ever mailed out reminders before?
yeah, we
Yeah.
do it every
Every
year.
year.
Mm-hmm. My little yellow postcards.
Is there a percentage of people that do pay up before that's rolled over?
Small percentage. I most of them, no. But yeah, she just handed me that right before the meeting and I will get that ready. And I am also getting phone calls out for Trucker for setting water up
For the 2G.
for the
For the
2G
meter
meters.
change out.
Yeah, so Jordan can start doing that on the 1st. So we're busy. Lots of good things happening.
Any other announcements, correspondence? Consent calendar. The purpose of the consent calendar is to expedite business by grouping non-controversial items together to be dealt with in one board motion without discussion. Any member of the board may ask that any item of the consent calendar be removed and placed elsewhere on the agenda for full discussion. Such requests will be automatically respected.
I want to pull check number pool 6498 to go along with our unfinished discussion.
Okay, and I would like to pull, well, we have an addition to the pooled check register. I gave everybody a copy. And the minutes of the August 9th board meeting.
Anything else?
Motion to approve and then are we gonna go back and approve the minutes separately? After.
And discuss, just
Okay.
approve the consent calendar with the exception of the check registers and the minutes of the special
Okay.
auditor in the August 9th meeting.
Motion to approve the consent calendar with the exception of the pooled check register and the minutes of the August 9th board meeting.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to approve the consent calendar with the exception of the pooled check register and the minutes of the August 9th board meeting. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Kane,
Yes.
Zeitz,
Yes.
Blackshine,
Yes.
Kuchera,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
We'll do your pooled when we talk about the
right.
unfinished.
Mhm.
You want to do the minutes now?
Yep. On the minutes, on new business, item A, I just would like the minutes to reflect what I stated my reason what voting no was, is that we have an ordinance that is not being followed, and that's why I voted no. And then on the check registers, we're just adding checks number 6552 through 6556 in the total amount of $250. There was an oversight and I just did these checks today so that the employees could have them on time. So we need to include that in our check register approval. So I would make a motion to approve the August 9th minutes with the addition of the reason Wolfgang voted no. And the check register, including the check numbers I stated.
Support.
Any discussion? I would just like to say, with the discussion of this, is you voted no because you state we have an ordinance that's not being followed, but yet you also said that you supported this project and this concept. So I wonder if you are going to write something up for the planning commission to look at and review and possibly change our ordinance instead of just ignoring it, and as we continue to move forward with more possible developments coming in.
I can do that.
So there's follow-up to an ordinance that we know needs to be corrected, and since you specifically said this, I guess that would be nice if you could write something up for the planning commission to review that and make an amendment to that. That was my discussion. Good motion and support, discussion. Are you ready, Wixel? Roll call.
Kuchar?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Zeiss?
Yes.
Campbell?
Yes.
Sunshine?
Yes.
Wolfgang?
Yes.
Unfinished old business. Want to put the update on the sign? It's in the packet.
I keep forgetting to tell everybody, so I finally said, I'm just gonna tape something up.
It's good news.
Well,
Fingers crossed.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Discussion on HydroCorp final payment.
Okay. So this has been an ongoing thing. And so I did reach out to the attorney, and she suggested I keep reaching out to HydroCorp and giving them chances to correct it themselves. The thing is the one contract they have breached, the first contract, we have paid that contract. So now we have the second contract that is due. They have did all of the work for that contract satisfactorily. Oh, that's hard. And that, so we owe them, I think it was like 24,000 something. So I did reach out to them again a couple times in the last few days. He did get back to me today and said, I'm sorry, I still haven't been able to get through all the information you've sent me. I will review it and get back with you. So I told him, as soon as he does, and we can come to a conclusion and understanding that we can release the final payment. He did not sound averse to it. I mean, he didn't say anything, so I take that as good news.
But that doesn't sound like what Carrie said. Didn't Carrie say that we could not withhold payment for a contract for?
No,
the
she
cost
did not
collection?
say that. She did not say that. She said we could withhold it. She said that our first thing that we should do is try, and that's why I reached back out to Dave at HydroCorp, because she said our first thing is that we should still try to work with Dave at HydroCorp, and that opposed to paying him and then trying to get monies back, and if we don't, then there's a court hearing, and I mean, for what we're looking for back. And the thing is at this point, we aren't looking, in this, I mean, anybody on the board can tell me that they would like to see me do it a different way. What I did was, there were 8 items on the first contract that, and 3 of them they did not fulfill. So I asked for 37.5% of the bill credited. And like Carrie said, we are not asking for all of the additional work our employees had to do, and that if the board wants me to go back and ask for more or less, I am more than willing to do that. I came up with that number just because it was 37.5% was what they did not fulfill, so I took 37.5% off the contract.
No, is the original contract for 24,000?
No, that contract was for like 10,
I think it was like 13 something.
yeah,
And that was for the installation?
yeah, so the
Yes.
meters.
Okay.
So,
And that's the contract they breached. That's what
Yes.
she's talking about.
And so what is the 24,000?
that's the cross connection contract that they did fulfill.
Nothing to do with the meters.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
It's a separate
Right.
contract.
Okay.
So, Carrie said, just try to keep that open communication dialogue with them and try to come to, if it comes to a deadhead, then we probably have to go a different way, but as long as there's communication going back and forth, try to keep that going on.
Sorry. My only fear is, and I guess we would have to look back at the contract for the cross connection, is if we don't pay it, if we hold on to it, that we're gonna get charged late fees. And I guess we should look at the contract and see what that says about late payments.
It's probably on the invoice.
Could be.
That's where I would think it would be.
I don't have my
But
phone.
you're saying Carrie said that we could withhold payment for the cross-connection contract.
Yes, as long as we are talking it through. She said not to pay them until there's a resolution or we decide we're going to take them to court for the breach of that, and then we can let the other one go and take them to court for the other. But she said her suggestion was for me to keep emailing them and try to come up with a conclusion. And then she sent me a paragraph for us in future contracts to make sure that's in future contracts that says we don't even, if we feel that you owe you money, we're gonna withhold it regardless. So she told me to make sure that's in future contracts, and then we talked about some tax stuff.
See, I thought she said we couldn't withhold the payment
No,
for that
no.
contract,
May I?
but to continue the negotiation at that 37%.
May I read what she wrote? It said, "The township may withhold or nullify the whole or part of any payment under the contract to such extent as may be necessary to recover any funds due the township as a result of contractor's default under any other contract with or obligation to the township if the township has notified the contractor of the default or obligation and the contractor has not reimbursed the township or contested the default or obligation within 15 days from the date of the township's notice."
No, that is what she wants
What
us to
she-
put in future
Yeah,
contracts.
that's to be an addition. We don't have that in a contract. That's what she's
Oh.
suggesting moving
Better
forward.
it is.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, no, but her suggestion was not to pay this invoice as long as we're in negotiation. If it comes up and that we're at a stalemate and he's saying no, you're not taking that from that payment, we're not paying you, we don't feel like we've done anything wrong, then she said, then you'll want to go after him for breach of contract. Then the other contract means nothing because you're going to sue him for the breach. And so my suggestion is I reached out to him today and said, if you have any questions, As soon as you get through review the material, let me know. You know, I want to take this, and I spelled it out for him. I want to take this 24,000 minus the 5,000 and pay you the remainder. And I had not heard back from him today, but he did email me this morning and say he apologizes that he's not going to get to reviewing. And I sent him probably 90 pages of stuff to review. So he's got a lot of reviewing to do of things they didn't do correctly.
And this has been going on for some time, all the communications that you've sent, some without even answering for a while.
Mm-hmm. He is now, I have to say, the last few, he is keeping communication going.
And I think he's going to,
Yeah.
because, you know, there's a lot of work for him.
So, I mean, it's my thing, I would hold off another month paying. I don't know what, I can go pull the invoice and see what it says. I don't know what it says. My guess is that at this
How about if we
point,
make a motion to pay it if he comes back, let's say he comes back today's Tuesday, Friday, and says, you know what, Tracy, we just want to settle this with the township, we'll deduct the 5,000. Maybe you can do a motion tonight, figure out
Yeah.
what the difference would be, so we wouldn't have to wait.
and we can, yeah, we can do that. If everybody's okay with the numbers I came up with, I mean, I don't want to say this on behalf of the township if people aren't okay with it.
Well, you already did.
Well, no, I mean, nothing has been set in stone.
Well, no, but
We
there
can
is
always-
email correspondence with
Right.
your request for that amount, which I'm fine with. I mean, you
Yes.
looked at the 8 items and you did the math.
Yeah.
And if there's an extra charge for BSNA, then so be it. It was an educational thing, but it could be that there won't be. It could be
Right, I would
included in
think
our
if
tech
we-
support,
yeah.
Whatever.
I think if we'd hear from BSNA, I think we would have gotten an invoice
I
from them.
would think by now.
Yeah, but,
I'm fine with that.
so I'll make a motion that, I will continue dialogue with Dave, and I can't remember his last name off the top of my head. And if he comes back and approves the credit that I requested, then we release the check for the 21,000, it's about 21,000, I think.
I think it's 20, it's a total of 26,000.
Let me, do
I think
you have one of my
2680.
emails that
It's-
has the credit?
It's in the,
Let me see, I've got.
it's in the check register.
Well, I was looking for
Oh,
my credit.
the
I
amount-
sent him a credit, mine, and then the total that we would be willing to pay.
See, 5136. That number's sticking.
Yeah, what was the 24,465 or something?
It's 26,825 is the total
26,825.
invoice for the cross connection.
What's 37.5% of that? Sounds like. No? 37.5%. 37.5% of 26,825.
But
No,
I thought
that's
you-
not
yeah.
right. That's not right. Forget it.
37.5% of
Of
the
the
13.
Yeah, let me go get it, just so we have the right numbers in.
What was the motion?
What?
There's not a motion yet. There's a partial motion. it's Eddie from the Munsters. That's what it looks like. Doesn't he? It just came to me.
Like who?
Eddie, the Munsters.
He's probably too young to know that
You
show.
definitely.
Oh, definitely.
Doesn't he?
Eddie Wolfgang Munster. He's my
We're lucky
cousin.
we already have somebody with the nickname Eddie.
Yeah, with my hat on, it does look like this, but you can't really tell most of the time it's covered.
Yeah, and I've never seen you out of uniform.
When before I left, I had the long hair on the top and shaved on the sides. I had to get it ready in the morning and use like a cloth of my gel to put it back. They used to call me Sergeant Slickback. That's my nickname.
All right, AKA.
Carry on the tradition.
Yeah, I'm gonna be using that one. Tomorrow's a new day.
Should I go home and get the numbers or what?
Where's your other one? You got
Can you see it?
two different ones.
Okay, it's gonna go do a status check.
On the invoice, it just says terms is net 30. It doesn't say anything more than that. So the credit I saw was $5,083.88, bringing this total, the 26,825, if we took that credit, to $21,741.12. So I'll make a motion that if Dave Cardinal from HydroCorp approves the credit of $5,083.88, that we release a check to him in the amount of $21,741.12.
Support.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Kuchar,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Glenshine.
Yes, because the conversation has been started. And I'm hoping that he's just going to agree with it and I don't have to wait. I personally think that this is a totally separate contract. But I'm going on Tracy's word that our township attorney said that we can withhold payment. I personally didn't talk to Carrie because Tracy did, so there was no need for me. So I'm going on Tracy's interpretation of the contract and her relaying that to us, so that's why I say yes.
Wolfgang,
Yes.
New business. Ken, update on the Blair Township water supply and treatment improvements.
You wanna let Brad go first?
Oh, yeah.
I can hang out. I'll go first.
Way to look out for Brad, Ken.
I might not stay now. But just tell him, Kenny, the good thing I heard from the Garfield tonight. Anyway, Brad Jewett, Grand Traverse County Board of Commissioners, District 3. Things have been pretty quiet at the county lately. Business has been moving forward, but a couple updates I do have for you. ARPA, we are currently accepting applications from the different people, entities and whatnot that want to apply for some of the ARPA funds. And the ARPA funds is $18,084,000 some odd dollars, not 18.2. Not a big difference, but people keep saying 18.2. But that application period is open for the month of September and October. After that, it's gonna get handed over to the ARPA committee just to make sure all the applications are in order and stuff like that. And we're hoping around the first meeting in December, if not sooner, it comes in front of the full board. We will have some public input sessions after the application period, so we can hear people's pitch on why they want some money and stuff like that. So anyway, hopefully we can get it all put together and have some decisions made by the end of the year. The other thing that I have is community mental health. Our county administration and a couple other people and some attorneys and other counties have been meeting on that, trying to rewrite the agreement right now with the other counties. The other counties are very receptive of it and everything. They also agree that there's some changes that need to be made and whatnot. So that is one option on the table for redoing CMH right now. Leaving everything intact, redoing it, rebuilding it, whatnot, but we also have the other option on the table where we can pull out from it and redo the whole organization if we want. But we are working on a couple different avenues there right now. As we know more, I'll put you in on more on that, so. But that's all I have right now. It's actually been pretty quiet. Business has been going normal. We approved our budget back in beginning of July there and everything, so you know, we're not really doing any budget talks right now and stuff like that, so. But other than that, does anybody have any questions or comments for me?
I reviewed your application today. I got scared, Ken.
Yeah. Good.
I think Ken and I are gonna have to have a meeting at, like, brainstorming, collaboration, work on filling this out together.
And I'll be honest with you, I've not seen, I was actually out of town the day we got emails that they posted on there and I've not looked at it yet. So I don't know how detail oriented it is. I knew it was going to be kind of extensive stuff, but I will take a peek at that tomorrow just so I know in case you guys have any questions on or anything.
It's good, don't get me wrong, but for somebody who's not a grant writer, I
Intimidating.
mean, I can write a nice narrative, but I'm definitely gonna be leaning on Ken. Ken and I are gonna partner up.
I know too, with that application, we had to run by the new council and everything.
Yeah.
We also had to make sure there were certain questions in there based on the ARPA guidelines and everything like that. And like I said, I apologize, I've not looked at it and stuff, but I will, and that way if anybody has any questions.
Yeah, and just so you guys all know, it is on the county website. So click on or take a look, scroll through the 15 pages. And we did submit a preliminary request. The county had asked for that early on, and that was just a preliminary. So if we don't submit this request, then we're completely out there. The committee, the county's ARPA committee will not take us into consideration for anything. So we have to do this.
And just so you know, I mean, we are going to have some recommendations from the ARPA committee, but at the end of the day, the full board decides how it's going to be spent. We can go with their recommendation or their ideas, or we can just say no and stuff. So there's going to be some interesting conversations coming up over it, and I'm sure there's going to be ones that agree with recommendations and don't agree with them. But you know, at the end of the day, I just want to see that we spend it wisely to benefit our community, you know, for the long term.
And initially, it sounds like a lot of money, but when you think of infrastructure projects.
Yeah, you know, and I made this comment very lightly publicly, but you know, individually, $18 million is a lot of money. But when we look at a county our size, and I use that for an example, if we want to do a water sewer project, a road project, the waste treatment plant project, $18 million, I hate to say it, but does not go very far.
Right.
You know, so that's why we want to be really wise in how it's spent and make sure it has a positive impact for, you know, the biggest part of the community that we can. So
I personally think you guys have done a really great job as a board, right from the beginning when the ARPA funds first came out, with slowing down, hiring the firm,
yep.
getting the word out. I know some people feel like the word wasn't out well enough just for that initial submission, and I completely disagree. If a person is interested in those monies, we were very well, I think the county county, you talked about it at every meeting. It was on the website, and I think you guys have done a really great job. I like this idea of having to submit this application, even though it scared me when I looked at it today. But that's what we have, you know, our team
Yeah.
to help us with. I like that you have a specific committee from, you know, representatives from multi-agencies. It's not just the county commissioners or the county commissioners subcommittee that's set up by the county commissioners, and then it will ultimately go to you guys. So I personally think for those federal dollars that the county's receiving, you guys are, I think you're doing a good job with.
Thanks. I think we've done a pretty good job of marketing. You know, no matter how we market it, there's going to be somebody that didn't know about it. You know,
Absolutely.
between the businesses, the community leaders, the nonprofits, the townships, you know, the city. I mean, there was a lot of information out there, letting people know the direction we were moving and knowing that we were not going to move fast.
Yeah.
We were going to be smart about it and collect as much information as we can. So I do appreciate hearing that, Nicole, and stuff. So, yeah. So in December, we're hoping to, early December, have a decision on how we're gonna divvy that up and stuff. Even amongst commissioners, there's 35 different ideas,
Right.
you know, stuff. So that's why I said it's gonna be some interesting conversations. But I do know the mindset of all the commissioners are, we wanna do what we can to have the most impact in the future for our community, you know, so, yeah.
Which is
See
what you should do.
Yeah, see where we end up with it, so. If anybody's got any questions or comments, reach out to me. I think most of you have my contact information, but go ahead.
I seen your flyer in the Record Eagle Sunday.
Oh, thank you.
Nice.
Thank you. So, yeah, if you guys don't have my contact information, it is on the county website. I will hang out as long as you guys don't drag this out for a while here in case anybody wants to talk afterwards. But I do need to see Nicole tonight or maybe tomorrow, so. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank you.
Okay, Ken.
All right, good evening, Ken Short with Wade Trim. So Nicole asked me to come in tonight and just briefly go over the water supply and treatment improvements report that we put together. It took way longer than I thought it would to pull this information together. It was literally pulling teeth to get information out of suppliers and contractors, months. And sometimes the stuff we got was not very good and got sent back. So I apologize for the delay in the process, but this is the world we're dealing with right now. It takes a long time to get anything done, unfortunately.
And I just want to add to that, to Ken and Wade Trim, which I really appreciate this, but there was not a whole lot of information from our previous engineering firm that was passed down. So there was a whole lot of research in going outside the normal realm of what they can look at. So
Yeah, and
there
that's
was
still,
that also.
and that still haunts us with any time we dig into the past. I mean, there's going to be holes that we just don't know what happened and why. So we just do the best we can.
Yeah.
But since it's been so long, I mean, the purpose of this study was to, one, to see if there are short-term ideas that we could pursue just to get our water supply up in the short term, because any project we do is going to take some time, a large-scale project. And then the other part of it was, we know the township is growing. We know the township's going to need more water. Well, how much? And somehow you got to put a number on how much. Give a target. And then if we're going to do that, we need to know a cost. So estimated cost was a big portion of that, so we know how much funding to go after. Short-term improvements, you know, the length of our study here, some of the short-term improvements have been completed. The well work we did made a substantial improvement in how much well capacity there is. I mean, 200 gallons per minute is a big deal, an improvement. You think about the work we did up on the hilltop, that was 300 gallons per minute. And that was a much larger project. So the work we did on the wells was really good this past spring and summer. The other item that we noticed is the high service pumps. The water comes out of the wells here at this site into a clear well. where it's aerated, and that's what helps oxidize the iron to get it on the water. And then there's pumps that take it and push it through the filters and out to the system. There's 4 pumps. 2 of them pump at a much higher rate than the other 2. What we could do, and we've talked with Patrick on this, is if we can get those other 2 pumps up to the same speed as the higher ones. So we have 4 pumps that are pumping at a higher rate. What that does is we're still limited by how much the filters can do, how much the water the filters can clean, but at any point, if 1 or 2 of those pumps go out, we still have all high-end pumps pumping water through. So that would be my short-term recommendation to pursue is get those high-service pumps as efficient, as high pumping rate as we can. And what that does, the DEQ likes that because our redundancy, any one pump goes out, we still have these high-capacity pumps going. So that certainly helps in a lot of different aspects. And it's something the guys are familiar with. They've worked on those pumps before. He's not giving me dirty looks for putting them to work. But they haven't touched these two lower capacity pumps haven't been touched in a long time, ever. I think. But at some point they got to get upgraded. And I think that's your best bet to get your redundancy up to snuff at a relatively low cost. The other short-term item is, we've already talked about it, is water loss. Continue what you're doing with the water loss. That is an excellent way to, it's either going to give you more water for everybody else, you're probably going to find leaks, or you're going to increase your income, no matter what you win. The more you pursue that and get that water loss down, it's better all around. And in my experience, I've dealt with this in different municipalities. It's usually a combination of leaks, meters, you end up, when your water loss is that high, it's usually a combination of things. So good job on pursuing that. All right, so now the real reason I let Brad go first are long-term improvements. Now, what we did is we looked at a 20-year window. So we're looking back at how fast Blair has grown in the past 10 years, and then more recently, it's certainly increased much faster. And at this point, the maximum day water demand, so the most water we use in a day, exceeds what our capacity is. So it doesn't happen, it's only happened once or twice, but it has happened. So from a DEQ standpoint, we're gonna need to get that increased. Doing those short-term improvements is gonna help. It's gonna get us very close to meeting that maximum day demand that we've seen in the past. But as growth continues, and I'm not seeing any real shutdown in how fast we're growing, I'm still seeing new plans come across my desk. We're gonna need to keep up. What we need to do is we need to get ahead of the curve as soon as we can. So looking at the demands, I come up with, my recommendation would be look at about 1,000 gallon per minute increase. So that's a big number. That's almost doubling what's out there right now for your firm capacity. So when I say firm capacity, that's when your biggest pump breaks and you're limping along with what's left. That's your firm capacity. Eagle requires you to look at it that way, and that's how you assess your system by firm capacity. So my recommendation is to almost double that to get you to where the projections are saying you're going to be in 20 years. So how to get to that?
Yeah, here we go.
So
Listen up, Brad.
the supply and the treatment all need to be upgraded to get that level of supply, to get it out to the system. We got to increase our number of wells, and we have to increase how much we can treat, how much can go through an iron removal filter. Iron is really the only concern we have with the water. It's good water, it just has high iron. So aesthetically, no one's ever going to want to go back to an unfiltered water system. So we'll take the iron out. My recommendation is to add 2 500 gallon per minute wells. And I would do them oversized wells, 12-inch well, versus right now there's 10-inch wells, if they were a 12-inch well, you could put a bigger pump in there and do a pump test and possibly get your permit increased and bring more water out of them. But the wells you have out there now, they're kind of maxed out what you can do. So my recommendation is do a little bit bigger well, get the pumping rate you need. In the future, if you need a little bit more, at that point you could go back for a bigger pump permit. For the treatment is a big cost. The iron treatment plant, we went through this up on the hill. You know, it's a large cost, and they're kind of complicated projects. But it's a necessity to get the water quality you have, to keep that going. So we worked with 2 different manufacturers. Like I said, it took a while to get some of the numbers out of them. The numbers generally came in around $4.5 million for a total project cost. So that's the total project cost. So that's the wells, iron removal treatment, and engineering, construction. That's everything. We try to package it all up for a total
Which there
number.
could be a deduct with construction because we could utilize the pole barn.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, a big chunk of that cost is whatever you put in there, we gotta put it in a building. Our current infrastructure at the water treatment plant, there's no room to expand in there. And the site itself is kind of constrained. You have a septic field on one side, you got baseball fields. So you're kind of limited in some places. So it can be done, but you're still adding a building of some sort. Yeah, potentially the fire barn could be an excellent option. Be something to review as a potential site for new iron.
The pole barn.
The pole barn.
Yeah.
Yes. So there's still be some details to work through on the iron removal. I guess from what I've gotten from manufacturers, I'm not satisfied with any one proposal I saw from them. I would like to dig into it a little further, but what I've come up with is basically 4 different costs that were in that report. One of them is kind of an outlier. It was pretty high. The other 3 were pretty close to that $4.5 million range. So, you know, I feel comfortable saying that's about where your project's going to end up. With the note that construction costs are crazy, and it is very hard to estimate costs at this time. So just that is also the nature of construction right now, is costs do vary, and projects typically take longer than anyone expects because of delays in getting equipment. So that was my 1-page summary of the report. Certainly any questions you have, I certainly try to answer them. You know, the next steps from here is to figure out whether or not you want to go forward and how you would do that, funding wise. You know, certainly there's the ARPA funds we've discussed. I would
forget Blair has ARPA funds too.
Yes. Yep. The other funding source that got a lot of funding recently is Eagle. Their drinking water SRF funds. They've got a lot of funding in there. So one thing I would definitely recommend is that we get on their list, notice of intent. Get this project listed on there so we can apply if we want to. It's sort of like those preliminary things we do at the county. You got to get your project on the list so you can apply it later. I would strongly recommend we do that. And that is a November 1st deadline, I believe.
Yeah, I concur. And Wade Trim also, besides Ken, they do have a grant writer in their office who would work with us. But I say short term right now. You say, what do we want to do today? And I want to throw up when you give me these numbers after what we're going through right now. I would say, let's give Ken and Wade Trim's grant writer the authority to do the research and do the preliminary submittals to every single state and federal grant opportunity there is. That's gonna cost us some money, I know, but I think it's money well spent.
Mm-hmm.
And there's billions of dollars in infrastructure grants, both federally and state-wise. And like Ken said, just like the county, we've got to get the preliminary submittals to even be eligible to actually apply with the grants. So I say, thank you. Do it.
And with all the grants, I mean, the information's here. So we're taking information out of here, putting it on the grant applications.
Yes. And I think that we owe that to our residents and our taxpayers, our people that we represent, is to take advantage of every single possibility to get state and federal dollars and not have to ask them for more of their money.
Yeah, definitely.
And I also think, I love this book that Ken put together with the short term and long term. I'm very well aware of the long term and what we need. I'm 100% in favor of replacing the high service pumps, the two that need to be replaced. And Brad is right, we do have our own ARPA dollar. Well, we know that because we bought new commercial meters, and I think that's the best place to start. And the water loss committee continuing on the water loss issues and the leak detection machine coming and the new meters being installed. I agree. I think those are the two things that we can do now. With a 51% water loss. That's why I kept telling Ken, I can't wrap my head around this, that we're at capacity. Well, we're at capacity because we're losing 51 or 52%. Let's,
And that's not all gonna turn into capacity.
no, I know,
We'll
I
turn
get
the
that.
dollars in the account, so either
Right.
way you win.
Right, and I had heard at one point, I don't know if it was through Patrick, through Jamie Wade or what, but normal monthly water loss, maybe I heard it from John Holland, I don't know, it should be like
11%.
16%, 11?
11%.
11%.
Is what Eagle, anything over 11%, they don't.
Yeah. Yeah, and ours has been at 50% for 10 years or more.
It goes up and down.
I'm like, well, okay, between 40 and 55% for
Sometimes
10 years.
30 or 50, yes.
Yeah, well beyond the threshold. So,
It's 50 cents. Thanks for this, Ken.
Sure.
Yes, thank you.
Great. Any questions come up or something?
Thanks, Ken.
We fix their plans. And we can't get about soup, yes. We got more water, we got soup.
No more questions on that? All right. Item 2, adopt resolution 2022-25, approving tax and continuing disclosure post-issuance compliance procedure.
This is regarding the bonds for the emergency services building. I would make a motion to adopt resolution 2022-25, approving tax and continuing disclosure post-issuance compliance procedures.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to approve, to adopt resolution 2022-2025, a resolution approving tax and continuing disclosure post-issuance compliance procedures.
I've seen the township treasurer listed in here several times. I'm not quite sure I support this.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Campbell,
Yes.
Flannery.
Yes.
Kuchera,
Yes.
Wolfgang.
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Item 3, approval of 2022 tax rebate requests, the L4029.
Not rebate, tax rate.
Rate, tax rates.
We got you back.
I recently watched a webinar that MTA put on and learned that the township board is supposed to approve the L4029. Nicole and I both have to sign it. Apparently, I talked to some other clerks, their board never approves theirs either. So I don't know if this is something new, but anyways, this is approving what is gonna go on the tax bill for the township? For the township operating EMS, millage, fire and police special assessment, and now the emergency services bond. Thank you.
And I do get one of these from each entity. I get one from the county, one from Beta, and it is all signed by their boards. So I could see where that would be at.
I make a motion to approve 2022 tax request L-4029.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to approve the 2022 tax rate request L4029 form. Any further discussion?
Yes. Right, in this month's issue, then I read this, and then right, after reading this, that was great. Now I knew what was happening, okay?
Yep.
Sometimes the numbers, I have no idea. But at least this explained it this month, so. It did explain about the L4029. It was great.
And basically, these come then to me for me to put into the tax table to send out bills.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Sykes?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Kuchera?
Yes.
Wolfgang?
Yes.
Blanchet?
Yes.
Campbell?
Yes.
Number 4, addendum to employee handbook, holiday pay for full-time DPW employees.
I put this together because of all kind of a situation we didn't really think of when we when we approved the paid holidays for township employees this year. The DPW employees, water, sewer, maintenance, really should have a different schedule than the township employees. The DPW employees don't need election day off because they're working out of the building anyways. Also, the water plant can't go more than 2 days without chemicals, is that
Well,
correct?
without doing rounds.
Okay, so, occasionally, that could cause a problem. So, I put together a different schedule, a proposed different schedule for them. And this would affect Patrick, Ryan, and Jordan. And on some of them, like the Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, where there's 2 holidays right in a row, I gave 2 different options. And I think they understand they can't all take the same option. So that, yeah, that, you know, somebody would be here to do rounds and it wouldn't go 4 days without. Plus, if an employee has to come in on a paid holiday to do rounds, I think they should be compensated for that. Patrick and Ryan have told me rounds can take anywhere from half an hour to 2 hours. But there are gonna be times when an employee does need to come in on a holiday. And if they're gonna do that, they should be compensated for it. So I'm proposing, time and a half for that time they spent doing rounds on a paid holiday.
So I just want to clarify, right now, the inside employees, we'll call them the insiders,
Okay.
get 1 floating holiday, is that right?
Yes,
And they're getting 2,
because I'm going by the insiders currently have 11 paid holidays.
Okay,
So I wanted to make it even for the outsiders.
okay.
How about we not call them that? How about we all consider us a team, but we all have different job descriptions and different job responsibilities. And we've got fire and EMS who work 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. So we've got water sewer that works 5 days a week, that have to do rounds on weekends and do their chemical checks. And then we have
Okay.
the other employees.
Well, I prefer to call them the outsiders, but you can call them what you want. Back to my question before you interrupted me. What was my question? Oh, what about July 4th? Are they not American?
No, I didn't include that, Tracy, because this is just for the fiscal year 22-23, and July 4th is already passed.
Okay, I get that, okay.
So I think we should do the same at budget time with this
Okay.
as we do with the other ones.
I'm good with that. I
The
just noticed that was the one that was missing and, yeah, and then the election days.
What?
You did 11. Is that counting the 2 election days this year? Do they get 11 plus the 2 election days?
No. 11 total.
Okay, so they get 11 total, and this is,
It's gonna be 10 because July, I believe. What is it? 1, 2, 3.
I just think the closer we keep the insiders with the outsiders.
Well, that's what I'm trying to do by giving them 2 floating holidays.
Okay. So that makes up for,
Yes.
okay.
Can I ask a question? Because I'm on salary, if I come in on holiday, I don't get time and a half, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. And what about page outs for those guys? Time and a half pay for a page out?
We're talking about holiday right now.
Okay,
but-
because I know that's not in the
Yeah.
handbook, but that's something else we should put in there.
You mean page out on a holiday?
Or just page outs outside of normal working hours.
Yeah, he's not talking about
Okay.
holidays. Yeah, that's something else we have to talk about separate from the holiday.
So, okay,
Yeah.
baby steps?
Baby steps.
Baby steps.
Okay.
So this would keep them in the same amount of days off as the
Correct.
rest of the team?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
I'd make a motion to approve addendum to employee handbook for holiday pay for full-time DPW employees.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to approve the addendum to the employee handbook regarding full-time DPW employees. Any further discussion?
Well, I'm just thinking in Patrick's case, because one, and I shouldn't think this, but he's coming from way out west. And that,
California?
up north, yeah, he's way out there. And for him to have to do rounds on a holiday, there's nothing
That's why I,
extra for him. I would think
This-
that we would throw him
okay,
a Twix.
this
What
is,
about these guys that drive from Cadillac?
That is craziness.
Tracy,
Yeah.
part of my thinking was, okay, Monday, that should only really come into play when there's more than one day in a row that's a holiday, you know, like with Thanksgiving
Mhm.
or Christmas or New Year's. And I would hope that they could coordinate
Well,
their
yeah,
schedules so that they keep that to a minimum. Where,
Jordan and Ryan are very close to the water plant. It's nothing for them to rush in. And, you know,
And the three of you, the two of you have worked that out for the last 10
we've had no
years.
problems working it out.
Exactly, I know.
And soon Jordan is gonna be ready to be on soft on-call, I'll call it, you know.
And rotation.
Yeah, I think he could do a service line or just somebody to be there to push buttons. We could walk him through pretty much anything. So one of us gets through. One of us will be kind of on a backup when he starts, but, you know, we take care of each other pretty much, you know.
All right, well, I just don't want you to.
We're kind of a different breed.
No.
Well, and Patrick being salaried too,
Yeah.
does have the ability, and I don't want to use this term, not come and go as he pleases,
Right,
but,
you can say that.
well, no, I don't really want to say that.
Turn the video off.
But you have a little more flexibility in your
Yes.
schedule.
Yes.
How's
Thank you.
that?
Thank you, yes. Yes.
Okay, well, if you
And I
guys are
answer
good
my
with it.
phone all the time.
We have a
24/7.
motion and support.
Carl, whoever gets a hold of me.
Let's move it on.
Maybe if I
Roll
call
call.
Saturday midnight, you'll answer?
I will, absolutely.
I might be drunk then, okay?
Yeah, that's
Yes.
fine. We can talk about life if
Okay.
you want.
Yes.
Kuchera,
Yes.
Landshine,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes,
Fitzpatrick.
I just want it to be fair for one and all.
Thank you.
Well, I did talk to Patrick about this, you know, let him see what I was proposing, because I wanted to see if there were any issues that I wasn't thinking of.
Yeah, and, I mean, another thing too is to look at what other municipalities are doing for future changes for paid out stuff.
Item 5, amendment to employee handbook. Operating vehicles owned by the township.
We had a situation that kind of warranted some changes to this. So the additions are in bold italics. And there was one more, Cindy did make a suggestion.
Why not?
I'm giving you credit. Okay. I'll blame myself. Or I'll ask what everybody thinks. On number 6, where it says, any employee who acquires more points on their driver's license than set forth in paragraph 2 of this section shall be placed on probation and be prohibited from driving township vehicles. The vehicle, or the employee will be required to attend a defensive driving training program.
Paid for by who?
That's the thing. At their expense, can we add at the employee's expense?
And where do you get a defensive driving training program?
I don't know, this was already in. Number 6 was already in there, that's not an added. But I don't know. I don't know. Eric, do you know where you might find one of those?
I know our emergency services people. get
I've
them.
seen him drive, he doesn't need one.
Driving training every year, so.
I can't hear you.
We go, the emergency services do a driving training every year.
Uh-huh, but that's just for emergency services.
Probably Merritt Speedway.
Who, in the 6, any employee who acquires more points on their driver's license is set forth in this paragraph 2 of this section shall be placed on probation and prohibited from driving township vehicles. That's our insurance, that's our risk if they've got 6 points or more.
What do you say?
Number 2, no more than 6 points will be allowed on any employee's driving record with no more than 2 of those points being received within the last 6 months. No more than 6 points, that's not just us pulling that number up. That's not us making it up, that's Paul Olson, that's our township
Right.
risk. So number 6, Any employee who requires more points on their driver's license set forth in paragraph 2 of this section should be placed on probation and prohibited for, yes, correct. Because they're not covered. So they have to be.
I'm sorry, I'm not getting what you're saying.
If you have more than
Dictated
6
by our
points.
insurance carrier, not by policy.
Correct. So are you saying you don't want this in there?
No,
Or-
I do want it in there. What is your question with number 6?
No, my question was to be paid for by the employee, the defensive driving training program.
Well, again, I'm not comfortable putting something in there when we don't know what it is. Where, is it available?
I don't know, but what I'm saying is this has been in there since we adopted the employee handbook.
But we're correcting it, so can we
Correcting
take
it.
it out?
Yes.
So let's take it out until we know.
You want to take out all of number 6?
No, the employee will be required to attend a defensive
Okay.
driving program.
The
Okay.
defensive one.
They're on probation, they can't drive a township vehicle, and that's dictated by our liability.
Yeah.
So if the state doesn't require them to go to a specialized training class, then their points are removed, then they can drive again. And the other ones I like, it's just common sense, and it should have
Mhm.
been in, you know, when we adopted the policy and procedure manual, none of us caught it. And report your damages right away. No smoking or use of tobacco products in township vehicles, to me, that's common sense. But it wasn't in the policy, it is now.
I really like number 12.
Do not
Me
lease,
too.
sell.
I
do
keep
not-
going back to that.
Do not lease, sell, or lend a company vehicle. Do not allow unauthorized drivers to use township vehicle unless required by an emergency. Perfect. I'll make the motion to adopt the amendment operating vehicles owned by township.
I'll support this.
Yeah, with the deletion of that sentence in number 6.
I'll support.
Any further discussion? Roll call?
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Kuchera,
Yes.
Wolfgang,
Yes.
Sunshine,
Yes.
Zeiger.
Yes.
Item 6, decline the responsibility of the private community septic system of Silver Lake Building condominium. Bill Crane, who's the engineer for Silver Lake Building condominium, said that the township basically has to do this, otherwise we'll be on the hook for a private septic system up there. He's asking for a signed statement from the township. That the township board declines the responsibility of the private community septic system of Silver Lake Building Condominium LLC located Southwest Silver Lake Road, Traverse City, Michigan 49685. Evidently, the township had to do this with South Creek, with the system that was put in that site condominium. And there was another one. I can't remember. This isn't the first time.
Yeah, Lisa just spouted off two to me today.
I know South Creek was one.
She's-
Oh, I know, up and coming, the Carl's Tire Fire
Place.
is being developed right now. We're gonna have to do the same thing for that. So I guess we need a motion in support.
I make a motion to decline the responsibility of the private community septic systems of Silver Lake building condominiums.
Support.
Should we put something in there, because a statement's gonna have to be that the supervisor has permission to sign a statement declining the responsibility? Because aren't you gonna have to write up a statement and sign it?
Yeah, I would say. To authorize the
Authorize the
supervisor.
supervisor.
Yeah.
including the authorization of the supervisor.
I still support it.
It's been moved and supported to authorize the supervisor to write up a signed statement declining the responsibility of the private community septic system of Silver Lake Building Condominium LLC. Any further discussion? Roll call?
Longshine,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yeah.
Kuchera,
I need
Yep.
this one for me.
Campbell,
Yes.
Wolfgang,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Item 7, establish committee to review proposals for managed IT services.
So I put together an RFP and, I should have proposals by September 22nd. And I would like to set up a committee to review those proposals. And the people I would like to see on the committee, and I thought of another one after I wrote this up. Myself, Wendy, the assessor. I talked to Eric about somebody from EMS and Fire being on the committee. We thought either Grant Johnson or Dan Kraft. I did talk to Dan, he said he'd be willing to do it. And the other person I would like on there is Sydney, because she is kind of the go-between between the employees and IT right now. So that, you know,
She's not kind of, we designated her
Well,
that
yes, she
over a
is.
year ago.
And Wendy approved it?
I didn't really ask her.
I did.
Did you?
Did you?
Okay, because last time she
The
wasn't
last
for
time she
it.
made it clear that you don't
Yeah,
make this, I did,
And-
and she would be willing to.
okay. And then anybody else who would like to be on it is welcome. I know everybody's just dying to be on another committee.
Who, yeah, I personally would like to see Tracy on it too, because I know a lot of times Wixel and Tracy are my IT,
I would support
my
that.
go-to people.
I'd love to be on the team.
Okay.
Can we call it the Insiders?
No, call it the team. Call it the IT team.
IT team.
Call it the outsiders. There's no
The outsiders. Item 8, renewal of employee assistance
Are we gonna
program.
vote on it?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
we have a motion to,
We
Do
don't
we?
have one.
We don't have a motion yet.
no, well, I'd like to make a motion to establish a committee to review a managed services proposal, which the recommendation would be for Lynette Wick and Wendy Wickup. Dan Clef, was Grant? Did Grant say yes? No, just Dan, right?
Dan.
Yeah.
Dan Clef, Cindy Wixel, and Tracy Campbell.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to set up an managed IT service committee consisting of Lynette Wolfgang, Wendy Wickup, Dan Kraft, Cindy Wixel, and Tracy Campbell. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item 8, renewal of employee assistance program with Traverse Connect.
This is just the renewal of the employee assistance program, and now somebody has to sign this new attestation, so, I guess the motion should include who you would like to sign it.
I make the motion to authorize the township supervisor to sign the attestation for the renewal of the Employee Assistance Program with Traverse Connect.
Support.
Any further discussion? Roll call?
Wolfgang,
Yes.
Seitz,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Lundsheim,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Kuchera.
Yes.
Item 9, quote for new copier.
So we have been having some issues with the copier, and we had the service technician out. He did say that one of the parts was in need of being replaced. It's like a $500 part. We've had that copier since 2015. It's been a great copier.
That's good. Been that many years, that's good.
Yeah.
It gets a lot of work.
Yes, but, so, you know, we looked at, well, did we put $500 into it, or do we wanna look at getting a new one? So Cindy did get 3 quotes, and Nicole suggested that we still fix the old one because our emergency services building is gonna need a copier.
Our hand-me-downs.
I personally, the Canon that was quoted, I know is the most expensive of the 3, but like I say, I think that had, and we did not go with a service contract on that. And we've only spent like $1,400 in service since 2018, where we would have spent way more money had we gone with a service contract. So I would make a motion to purchase the Canon IR Advanced DX. Is that the one I want?
Is it 4,800?
4845
Oh, 4,800.
These are different pages.
for $5,768.07 from Great Lakes Business Systems, and also repair the current copier.
So are you talking about purchasing outright and not these lease terms?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I want to support that, but I'm not going to support it because the way the motion was made, I don't want I would rather have just one motion to purchase the new copy machine.
Okay,
And then, that's just me.
all right,
Because
well,
I think EMS is still on the fence to whether they want that one or not. And it is,
Oh.
it will be over $500 or $500 to fix it. And if they so desire to not have that, then
okay, so we'll just hold on to the old one for now. Wait and see. All right, so delete that part, the part about fixing the current copier from my motion,
So just a motion to buy the new one.
to buy the new one.
And that was with
The
Great
key.
Lakes Business System.
Yes.
I would support that.
You know, still support that.
Okay.
It's been moved and supported to approve the purchase of the Canon IR Advanced DX 45, the amount of $57,6807. Any further discussion? Roll call?
Lundsheim,
Yes.
Seitz,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Kuchera,
Yes.
Wolfgang.
Yes.
Item 10, approve new EMT firefighter job description.
So this came about when we posted the position for firefighters, both, well, that one, and we haven't updated this job description since 1999. So, before we recommend hiring a new EMT firefighter, I thought we should update the current EMT firefighter position job description.
I'll make a motion to approve the new EMT/firefighter job description.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to approve the updated EMT firefighter, full-time firefighter job description. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Kuchar,
Yes.
Wolfgang,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Flagsheim,
Yes.
Zeitz,
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Item 11, required to hire Chase Grow as full-time EMT firefighter.
So,
This is Chase.
and the skilled trade program, Chase has been here since May. He's done a phenomenal job with us. He's a good fit. At this day and age, when it's hard to find qualified, good employees, hate to let him go. His roll up with the Air Force is September 25th, so his hire date would be September 26th. It'll create that next step and increase our staffing where we need it, and I think our budget will support it. So the number 2 department, that's a private joke, recommends hiring Chase Grow as that EMT firefighter of Blair Township.
I would move to approve hiring Chase Grow as a full-time EMT firefighter, Blair Township.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to hire Chase Grow as a full-time EMT firefighter in Blair Township. Any further discussion?
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
You're awesome.
Thank you, Chase.
Still got a vote.
Roll call.
I'll just leave before that.
That's why I haven't run up and given a big kiss yet.
Zeitz,
Yes.
Kuchar,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Wolfgang,
Yes.
Flagsheim.
Yes. Chase, it's been a pleasure to get to know you
It is.
over the last
Yes.
several months. I too agree with the interview committee and think you are a perfect fit for this department. And the community's gonna be lucky to have you as another one of the excellent team members.
Thank you. I think it's a good fit for me too.
I'm glad you decided to stay with us.
As an old Air Force guy, though, to wear your hair like that again.
I wear a hat 90% of the time, so it shows.
And number 12, request to hire Leah Allen as a paid on-call member. We have a recommendation here from Captain Scott Allman.
Thanks for his while briefly working with this better. She just finished the EMT class, they interviewed her right time we're going around, let's get on call play.
Make the motion to hire Leah Allen as a paid on-call member.
Support.
Any further discussion? Roll call?
Wolfgang,
Yes.
Kuchar,
Yes.
Flagsheim,
Yes.
Yes.
Fitzpatrick, Zeitz,
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Item 13, request to declare Zodiac boat surplus for disposal.
Our Zodiac boat was from a grant from Cherryland in somewhere around 2002, I think. It's designed to be a diving boat, and we're using it for rescue. We've had it repaired a couple times because it's air, and it's developed a couple leaks because of what we use it for. And I think Captain Tallman had it out and realized the transom, because the board that holds the motor in is splitting. So, to the point where do we keep dumping money into this boat that we're using that for something that wasn't designed for, or do we just get rid of it? And hopefully get a new boat futuristically through grants. Green Lake has a boat, Station 12 has a boat, so we have a small portion of Silver Lake that we cover.
Sheriff's Department has a boat.
Sheriff's Department has a boat.
Permanent body boats.
And we have the Borden River, but if the river's up and fast, that's when we have the majority of our rescue calls. the boats don't fit underneath the private bridges anyway. And if the water's down, people aren't up to stand up well.
I make a motion to declare the Zodiac boat as surplus and prepare it for disposal.
Support.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Request to declare, item 14, request to declare the Zodiac trailer as surplus and available for bid with a $200 minimum.
I would make a motion to declare the Zodiac trailer surplus and advertise it with a minimum bid of $200.
It's been moved and supported to declare the trailer, the Zodiac trailer as surplus and available for bid with a $200 minimum. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Oh, shoot. See, it's right here. I don't know how I missed putting it on the agenda, but tonight we adopted the agenda, so now we're to the laptop. I caught it.
So, you read my note here.
Yep.
And Carl, you still have a township laptop, right?
Yeah, I still got Dell.
Do you use it?
Yes.
Does it work? I mean.
It works.
Does it work?
I've always, a couple, the other year before center, I always had an issue with some of the upgrades and security.
Yeah.
And IT finally took care of it after about 8 phone calls.
Okay.
Because they weren't sending it anyway. So
Okay.
had to go through that. It's working good, I'm still using it.
Okay,
But I have to, because I have, well, technically, I almost have like 2 residents, so I own 4 laptops, okay?
Yeah.
My wife's got like 2, so 5. But I need that separate and compared to when I'm out there playing games and video games when it's raining. It's sure like,
Yeah.
I know I cannot use a township like that.
yeah.
Right, okay.
So I'll make a motion to purchase a laptop for Trustee Zeitz at Best Buy for $739.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to authorize the purchase of a laptop for Trustee Zeitz at Best Buy for $739.
Discussion.
Any further discussion?
Yes. So Roger, on this laptop here, the Core i5 with an 8 gig memory. Since you have chartered internet, if you only have 60 megabytes per second, you can actually play all the online gaming, okay, and also all the gaming.
All right.
Yeah, the 16-bit is better if you want all of it, but that's still good for our age, okay? Anyway, I just had to be a smart enough, okay?
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
Kuchera,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Zite,
Yes.
Wolfgang,
Yes, but you better check your email.
Yes.
Fleischman,
Yes.
One thing, Roger, do we still email the township email?
Pardon?
Do we email personal or the township one? Because I know for a while you want the personal. You and Dennis were having the personal, but not the township emails.
I use my own.
You use your personal email.
Roger had,
Roger still uses personal too?
township,
Township.
yeah.
Okay, good.
I get emails on mine from you too, but I don't sit at a computer all day.
But now you're getting a new laptop, so you're gonna check your township emails.